Just wanted to kind of get your outlook and goals wise, obviously having not played the bubble season and coming into this one for what you're trying to do on the court. I know everything you're doing off it.
Thanks, Roz. My sis from another miss. I'm really excited to be back on the court, and I think my goals are to compete and to be the best version of myself. And I know my journey has been different. It's up highs and lows, with injuries and pushing through and stuff. But, being able to, I was so inspired by everything that happened in the bubble, supporting the Sparks from a distance, and supporting all the sisters in the WNBA from a distance. But it's major FOMO. I had the FOMO of the century. And so now today to be out, and I just walked off the court and I looked at Nick, I was like, oh my God, I'm back. It felt like it was the first day of school. So for me, it's just getting back to competing at a high level, being the best player I can be, and being a great teammate.
We'll go over to Rashawn Haylock with KTLA.
Hey, Sinead. What did you miss the most while you were out last season?
What I missed the most was the feeling of going to war with your team, your squad, and competing at a high level and pursuing a championship. The reason I came to LA is to win a championship with my sister. And so I missed out on a year of getting closer to that, but I guess now it's keep that same energy because I'm really glad to be back. So I would just say it was hard for me to watch the games, knowing I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I could have been out there, set that screen, grab that rebound, take that charge, whatever needs to be done. But everything happens for a reason, and I'm just glad to be in this position this year to be able to help.
We'll go over to Miriam Swanson with the LA Daily News. Oh, whoops.
All right. Hey, Sinead. Welcome back to work, or this work anyway. I got to ask you about 144, the documentary, and just kind of how excited you are about that, and a little bit about what your job with that was.
Wow. Whew, this documentary is my baby. 144 is so special. So, opting out and protecting my body based on my injury history from last season, it was really heartbreaking having to make that decision. And it was kind of crazy because as a member of the executive committee of the WNBA, I was a part of the negotiation process the whole time. And then when it came to almost going for the bubble, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe this is not the best choice for me and my longevity. And so I was so inspired by all the women that were competing, my sisters, literally in the bubble, that I was like, I want to make sure I keep that same energy. And if I have a platform to amplify everything that they do, let's connect the dots. And so it literally was brainstorming. I had a phone call with Nneka, and Nneka was like, yo, it's crazy. We have 144 women here in the bubble. And I was like, Called Commissioner Engelberg, called ESPN Films. I was like, can we create content? We have all players in one location. And so after that, myself, my agent, Allison Gaylor, and two women producers, a women-led production, got cameras in the bubble and were fly on the wall for probably the most meaningful season ever, a season where we crowned a champion, but more importantly, created so much change. And I think that what makes 144 so special is that the players knew that it was a player behind the camera. So we saw a lot of their strengths, but we also saw vulnerability because, the crew would be walking around and people like, oh, are you isn't that weird that there's a camera? And they're like, no, that's just Janae and ESPN, doing her thing, trying to amplify our game. And so even though I wasn't able to play in the bubble, I feel grateful to have this project that actually will amplify and tell the story that really matters, of the 144 standing together. I mean, we have there's some crazy scenes we have from, reacting to Jacob Blake. And I remember having a phone call with Nneka saying Nneka, this is a powerful moment. Will you wear a mic? And under normal circumstances, if it was anyone else, Nneka probably no, we have to protect the players. But just knowing that I was on the other side, Nneka wore a mic and we captured some intense conversations, and just, having mics on the players in playoffs too. You get that duality of competing at a high level, but also these women advocating for change. And so literally it's an hour or two of my day-to-day each and every day since the season started last year, just helping curate and shepherd this story. And so I'm so excited to be back on the court. but it's perfect that that film will come out, you know, the night before, because I think it'll remind us how amazing it's not just the people I'm competing in camp are, but the league is in general.
We'll go over to Chris Camello with Nightcast Media.
Hey, Shanae, how are you?
Hey.
So just going back to the basketball aspect, you know, what's that like? Was there any rust that you had to shake off from not playing competitively, you know, for a year? Was there any like, oh man, I gotta work on this or work on that? Just, you know, kind of describe just being back out on the court and ramping up and that aspect of it.
I haven't played a game in 2 years, so of course there's going to be growing pains these first few weeks, but that's the beauty of training camp. And for me, it's not just like, oh, I'm back on the court. I'm holding myself accountable to being better, and that means expanding my game. And so it's taking all the necessary baby steps in order to be able to do that. And so, you know, I'm really excited about the opportunity that this season presents, not just for being back on the court and pushing through all of that beginning stuff, but more so pushing through in ways that I can get better to help my team. So yeah, of course it's gonna be like, oh yeah, like, you know, it's a rhythm thing. But that's why training camp is awesome. You know, I have 2.5 weeks to get right before the game. And we have an amazing coach in Coach Fisher that knows exactly what the process should look like, the acceleration. So I'm not afraid to miss in order to figure out how to make. And so you're gonna see me shoot my shot this year. I'm gonna be shooting and I'm excited for it. But I've worked for it, and it's just about, you know, putting everything together. So yeah, I think my motto is like, you know, just go hard and be fearless. And I think people will probably see that different aspect of what I'm trying to bring this year.
Time for 2 more for Shanae, and then we'll go to Christy. We'll go to John W. Davis with Winsider.
What's good, John?
What's going on? How you doing?
I'm good. Miss seeing you here, but it's all good.
Hopefully we'll get to see you soon. Question for you. You were kind of talking about this, but see if you can get a little bit more specific. Obviously, off seasons are a great time to get better. You have this training camp, but, you know, over the last time period, you know, what are some new elements that you're going to be bringing this year that I should be looking out for?
Face-up shot. Face-up shot. You know, ever since I was at Stanford, you guys know, I was banging in the paint, you know, back to the basket. But this league forces you to grow. So I think it's just being a little bit more versatile, working on my face up, working on my timing, and more importantly, reading the defense. So those are the 2 things, making sure I slow down, read the defense, and then shoot, because I know I can. And so it's a process of doing it.
Thank you, John. We will end with, oh, Pepper, did you put your hand? Pepper Persley with the next.
Hi, Janae. Great to chat with you today.
What's up, Pepper?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm great.
So I was just wondering, well, I'm sure there are things that every team is looking for coming out of training camp, but what are this team's goals for training camp?
Work. I mean, it's simple as that. We have a group of players that are committed to putting the work in. And so I think this is a special year because now I think, you know, we have a core that really is excited for the opportunity that probably people may not expect. And the best way to do that is by working as hard as we can, you know? So having a group that wants to stay after and to watch extra video and not just do that, but also motivate while doing that. Like, I'm in drills today and KT's right behind me, Kristen Tolliver. She's like, yeah, make that, you know, like just those little things where everyone's equally invested in each other. And I think that special chemistry and also the work ethic is going to translate to who this team is this entire season.